Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nisse, and if you are unaware about where we are, it is between the pygmy hippo, the red crown crane and Japanese macaque, and also the moose. So we're a bit in between of everything, and if you are confused and see my other videos about how I get this much space, it's basically because I moved my quarantine area and the trade center to the edge of the zoo, left of the entrance behind the giant panda. So therefore we have a lot of space here, and let's just get into it. And today we're gonna make a beautiful home here in Lucca Family Zoo to the Pallas cat. And of course I just needed to give the Pallas cat a Pallas. So here we go. And of course this is a very small habitat, so Pallas might be a bit more than we can actually do in practice here, but I'm gonna try to make a kind of a foresty theme with a palace or a castle in one end and then a bit more foresty in the other. But first thing first, and of course we need to figure out what we're gonna build it off. Of course I thought that stone would be the right choice, but I didn't really know which stone would be the right one, so I ended up going with the timber piece. However, I noticed that if I wanted just a small castle in here, I needed some more space. I didn't plan to have a Pallas cat at all when I made this part of the zoo. It's just a little empty space that I wanted to fill out, and just thought the Pallas cat would work very well because it is an Asian animal. And the pygmy hippo actually is a bit alone here. They are right next to some European animals and some South American animals, and therefore I just thought that it would be nice to kind of pull it more into the Asian section and make a bridge between the red crown crane, the Japanese macaque and the pygmy hippo. So I had two things I wanted out of this castle or palace. I wanted a tower and I wanted kind of a wall you could walk up on. So that's what I went for, and personally I think it went well. I don't think I ended up making a palace as I wanted, but I do make a pretty cool building, I think, myself. So I worked a lot with different kind of wall pieces. Tried to change things up how I wanted it, what I wanted to change, how things would work. But initially I wanted this 4-meter tall building, and then I wanted the tower, and then I wanted the wall on top of all of this, and it just ended up being a bit too tall. So therefore I go back in and actually lower the front part. Still keep the height on the back part, so you will still get the wall piece back there. And the 2-meter is more than enough to make the Pallas cat be able to actually also run under here. They are small cats, so therefore they don't need more space than they actually do end up getting. And I do believe this habitat is bigger than they need. Therefore I also chose to cheat, because Pallas cat are kind of solitary, so therefore they want to only be 2 at the time in a habitat, a male and a female, not 2 males and not 2 females. But I cheated a bit, so I ended up getting 2 of each. The Pallas cat is actually not much bigger than the average house cat. They normally grow to 2.5 to 4.5 kilos. That would be 5.5 pounds to 10 pounds. and both of my cats is heavier than that. I know they are on the heavy sides, but they are heavier than this. And here again, of course, we have a Asian animal which have a lot of different names. The Pallas cat is of course one of them, that's why we use them here. The more correct name is the Pallas cat Autocolobus manual, and they are also called manual and steppe cat, or rock wildcat. So again, as we say in Denmark, lovely child have many names. Here I try to figure out how exactly to make this tower. I got the base shape of it, but the rest of it I honestly didn't know how tall I wanted it, because it shouldn't be too tall, because I didn't want this to be too overwhelming over other parts of the zoo, and it would seem weird when you look at, for instance, the red crown crane and Japanese macaque, if you look over that building and then there's just a tall tower beneath. Also the fact that the cats just wouldn't care to go up there. Maybe they would in real life, because cats like to get a good view. They like to jump on the top of the highest shelf or cabinet you have in the room, and that's just how cats are. But in this game they won't, also because they won't be able to go on top of the tower. They can only go inside it. I also chose to put glass in, of course, because I just thought when you have kittens who also would be able to go up here, I wouldn't risk any of them falling down. So I went in with this glass. I would like it to be glass without the metal pieces, but it's okay, it works, it does what it should. So, and then of course the glass also makes sure that the cats won't be able to jump on top of the barrier, because they can run through the glass, of course. And here of course you can see the wall piece back here to kind of finish out the shape of the build, and then I add down here so we can have it was my plan to have a staircase, because it would be more palace or castle like, but instead I actually just chose to go with the incline, I think it's called. So because I didn't know the game with these Pallas cat, would they be able to go on top of stairs and that kind of things. So instead I chose to actually go with the incline, but we will get back to that later. Now we only need to fix a few things before the cats can get in here, one being that we need to be able to see them, and then we of course need to climb proof this fence. If you don't know it, after placing the wooden fence and other not climb proof fences, you can actually go down in the menu and make them climb proof. That helps a lot if you want a specific fence. Sadly, the Pallas cat is listed as near threatened, but they still live in quite a big area through Central Asia. That would be from the Caspian Sea through Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan and northern India to central China, Mongolia and southern Russia. So they actually live quite a few places, but sadly there just aren't enough of them. Both males or females are very territorial, but the males territorial will overlap with the females, and that's how they figure out who to mate with. But the males won't overlap with the males, and the females won't overlap with the females. They choose to live at quite a few different places actually. They can live, they normally live places where the temperature changes a lot through the summer and winter, though they don't want to live places where the snow is much more than 10 centimeters for much of the year. They are very small and they have small legs, so I think that might have something to do with it. They live in steppe grassland, but they can also choose to live places like a stony desert. In generally, they will always choose to live either a place with foliage or rocks, where they have places to hide beneath some covers of either stone or foliage. Again, they are quite small, and if they meet a bigger predator, they wouldn't really be able to take off the fight, even though they are predators themselves. They also been recorded to live up to 4,800 meters up in mountainous areas. The Pallas cat actually just looks like a small-eared, flat-nosed, fat cat. But it is actually very effective for what it's made for. The fur is of course very, very thick, which helps the cat actually survive these harsh cold winters. And furthermore, they actually have a third eyelid, which kind of protect their eyes from the cold and the snow and the harsh cold wind. So you can kind of have your eyes open, even though it would be extremely uncomfortable for humans, for instance, and can actually hurt humans' eyes. So that's actually very, very smart. They also have very small ears that also help with not getting snow and this cold air inside of the ears. And the massive tail actually can be used to fold around itself. Again, we see this with house cats, but where it's more like a easy placement for the house cat's tail, the Pallas cat actually used this big furry tail to cover the coldest areas, for instance their parts, or for instance their paws, or it could also be parts of their face when they get even colder. Furthermore, they are also really buff, so they can jump from rock to rock in very rocky areas again, and basically in the cold, tall animals just doesn't work that well because it can be slippy, and big fellas fall harder, and they are just so compact, so they get a good grab in the ground or the snow or the ice or where they goes. So their entire build are made for these kind of climates. I actually thought this palace or castle part of the habitat would be the hard part, but the terrain was so much harder. Because and I'm not sure if it's the cat or the mud which was the issue, but you need to max every single kind of terrain this cat will allow, because it all adds up to 100, so you have very little to give in other direction. So you need to really work to make sure you have the exact number of everything. Then here, of course, we go in with the enrichment, and that was actually kind of hard. Again, we use a mod, so we can search for Pallas cats, so we need to go into the Zoopedia a few times to make sure to get all of them. And honestly, I haven't seen them. I've seen them use the food enrichment, but I haven't seen them use the other enrichment at all. And I waited. I got kittens before I started shooting the cinematic, so that was kind of weird. I put in a bit of foliage to fit the cold climate here, but go away from the orange trees in this end, because you would be able to see all of them from the pygmy hippo, and then the yellow harsher trees would look too tough, I thought. So I went in here with the green ones instead. Of course, just skipped a few yellow in the middle. and I tried to cover some of the tower, but not all of the tower, if that makes sense. So the cats can still look out the same direction, but it's partially covered, so it doesn't seem like, look here, it's a tower. It just looks like it have grown. It's been grown in, if you can say it that way. And then here I got a shitty idea, and I'm glad I did it now, but it's just one of those things you have to work a bit around, because you don't have the same flat surface all the way around. So every single part of the barrier you need to do. You can't just copy it all over, because every single mid part of the barrier, pole of the barrier, I just needed to find the word, bend the surface a bit, so you have to make it piece for piece all the way around. So it took a bit of time, but it looks good afterwards. And I just like these overgrown habitats. It kind of pulls you more into the habitat instead of you just looking from the outside. The Pallas cat normally mate from December to March, and the female will be pregnant for 66 to 75 days, which means that between late March and May they will give birth to a litter of kittens, normally between 1 and 6 kittens. They are born with the darker fur, which are more woolly, and it will have more pronounced stripes. They will be independent after 4 to 5 months, and they will be adult after only 9 to 10 months. And they sadly only live up to 12 years. The mortality rate of these beautiful creatures are sadly very low, which means that 68% of kittens won't survive and become adult at any time. The adults have a lower mortality rate, but it is still 50% chance that they will survive the next winter from October to April, where the weather can be very harsh and the food will be scarce. Also the fact that they have natural predators such as the large eagle and the red foxes. Out here I choose to use some of the same flowers that I use inside of the habitat, again trying to pull a connection between the animal side of the barrier and the guest side of the barrier. Then of course we have to put in some education here, and I just wanted something a bit different, so I actually merged two of them here, removing the monkeys, adding some ice, and make the flowers more the light blue color that the flowers of my habitat are. Then I wanted some kind of cat, so I searched for cheetah, lion, but ended up using the tiger here. I'm still not sure if this was the best idea I ever had, but I actually end up liking the result. It's not perfect, but it's good. I think it's good anyway. At this point we would think that the Pallas cat had enough issues, but we still have the issues of habitat fragmentation. They are actually also being hunted by herding or domesticated dogs. Furthermore, we have mining in some of these areas, and of course infrastructure developments, and again if they don't have enough prey, they can't feed themselves and their kittens, then they are hunted for the fur. We can keep going. They are demanded as exotic pests and used in traditional medicine. And just a last thing, that marmots, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, are being hunted in these areas, which wouldn't normally be an issue, but these cats need shelter and they need a cave or a burrow or something like that. They can't burrow themselves, so they kind of need someone to steal the burrow from. Clearly, the Pallas cat is a beautiful creature that needs help. Luckily for us and for this beautiful creature, International Society for Endangered Cat are doing something specifically here. It's called International Society for Endangered Cat Canada, this site I have here. It's where I got all my information and some more information that I couldn't fit into this video, so go and read for yourself if you want to. And you can go and donate on this site. Again, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you after this video feel like I have something I want to give and are able to give and just feel the need to do something about this, go here, read the article, donate if you feel like it. The link is there for you. And I will shut up now so you can enjoy these cinematics. Okay guys, that was all for today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I haven't been that much out with some mods this week, but that was kind of me. I moved my computer and put the HDMI cable in the wrong thing, so my computer didn't work as it should, and it apparently took me 5 days to figure that out. So I'm sorry I'm a bit behind, but I hope you like what I gave you. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell of notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!